Back in 2007, when I was an administrative assistant, Department of Army civilian, I wrote a blog and I posted several stories. And I cannot remember if it was on this church website in Luling, Texas, or if it was like Yahoo store. I cannot remember, but I saved everything I posted and I found one today, and it is dated October 11th, 2007. And I wrote about our day on a training flight, actually a flyover visit. But I thought I would read this, and it brings back a lot of memories. And I'm going to play over it a video that my friend Kim made. These are Kim's photos. A lot of them are from that day that we did a flyover project check. So I wrote, that's me in the blue and red on the bottom left. I wrote, yesterday I received number 3 in the series of anthrax shots. I had managed to dodge this task for the last 3 years, but it was time and there was no getting around it. I handled the first 2 with no problems. The third one has me moving as if I'm underwater. I am very sluggish and it's weird. My arm has swollen as badly as it did when I got the smallpox vaccine, and it kept me awake all night throbbing, but I will survive. The next one is due next February. I did not dare tell anyone about my side effects. I did not want to get thrown off today's mission. Through professional courtesy, we get an occasional dedicated flight, 2 Black Hawk crews offering a capacity of 12 personnel. Today we needed to do a flyover of a granary. This particular granary, located in Sinjar, has already been turned over to the Iraqi people and is functioning properly. This is one of those successful projects where the scope included teaching, manning, and maintenance for the future. It was a struggle at first. When our former deputy area engineer / officer in charge went to check on it the first time, the Iraqis proudly showed them where they were keeping the prisoners. Prisoners? Yeah, this happens a lot. Facility we turned over, and because of lack of education initiative, they will use it for what they want it to be or what they think it needs to be. The major congratulated the men on running a successful prison and left. On a side note, I'm not going to say what actually happened. I don't think I'm allowed to. It was corrected later. Moving on, I will never learn to put my helmet on before I get out of the vehicle. I forget every time and wind up with a scalp full of sand and dirt as the helicopters swoop in over our heads. This really sucked since I knew we would not be returning till late night and would have a long day of nasty hair, or so I thought. Something else I will never learn is travel is never certain. We got an hour into the trip, and due to the weather at our destination, we had to land in Tal Afar, also known as Forward Operating Sites. It looked like an industrial complex designed by Lego and Matchbox from the air. Once we landed, if you swiveled left and right, you saw the entire base. This was my first time there, and we never left the airstrip. The hour we stood there waiting for the wind to die down and the sky to clear up, we never saw another human or aircraft. This is very different to my tiny little home known as Forward Operating Base Diamondback. Our base is divided down the center by a runway that supports C-130s, C-17s, Kiowas, unmanned aircraft, Black Hawks, and Chinooks, many times a day. It is a small base, but the movement is constant. The noise is constant, and the people coming in from remote areas picking up mail is daily. Sitting on the airfield in Tal Afar, it was eerie quiet, but that was okay. Noise is bad. It was not too long ago that a truck bomb went off in Tal Afar, leaving many dead and a cavern in the road where the truck had been. From what I remembered of the report, this was not intended to happen. The explosives were on their way to a distribution point when something happened to set off the entire wad. So the mission was curtailed and we loaded up to return home. No disappointment. You have to expect this. And who can get upset when you had the chance to push away from your desk for a few hours and see such beautiful sights? The very first time I landed in the Middle East, it was Jordan in November of 2003. I remember looking at the rolling, cracked, and scorched earth from the plane and thinking, ugly. But almost immediately it occurred to me that if this was my home, if I was returning here from being gone, I would see this same land and think, beautiful home. This is not my home. Texas is. but I am glad to see this, if nothing else but to satisfy my curiosity. We landed safe again at Forward Operating Base Mares, the base adjacent to ours and on the other side of the runway. We shook the hands of the crew and thanked them, turned to the personal security detail that came with us for security and thanked them too. Anytime, one screamed into my ear over the noise of the helicopters while slapping my painfully swollen arm. I included in this blog several photos that I took on the helicopter ride, including the back of the helmet of the gunner, and he had a patch on there that said, "Crashing sucks."